It's currently the 3rd of August 2013. Meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you on this landfall update on our severe tropical storm Jebi. Actually downgraded to a tropical storm through the overnight hours after it impacted Hainan here. The good news, southern Guangxi and northern Hainan and also over towards Guangdong province. The biggest impact I am getting from various news agencies here and also across Twitter, trying to get the people on the ground what they are seeing, is that really it's just stranded a lot of people out here. A big effect to the maritime traffic where Hainan really revolves around for their economy. But also we've been seeing some down billboards there in some of the cities on the northern periphery of the island, and also power outages to a few areas here as well. Now it's moving out there towards Hanoi, though, in northern Vietnam. I do think it's going to have a big impact here as far as the heavy rainfall. It's actually a quick graphic I put together here from Western Pacific Weather.com, and it's just showing the heaviest rainfall totals I think that's going to be occurring here on Saturday going into Sunday. Now, right ahead of the storm system, around Hanoi as well, you're in this, and also Haiphong, up to about 150 to 200 millimeters plus, because I do think of isolated areas out here could see about 300 millimeters of rainfall. You get that low coming ashore, you get that moisture continuing to crash up with it. But another thing is, I also put an area down here in the darker greens along the mountains there into central Vietnam. You're going to have that moisture continuing to push across this area, and I do think these mountains are really going to play a role in causing some flooding conditions out here. Plus, generally less than 150 millimeters across a very wide area. This storm does have a very wide-reaching grasp on it. So these are the areas where I do think there's going to be the highest risk of some flooding, and also landslides once you're talking about the mountain through the weekend here. But the good news, it's already making landfall here just towards the east of Hanoi. Winds right now 45, gusting up to about 65 knots, so just at that typhoon strength. What I mean by good news, though, it is going to rapidly weaken out here. Still have a lot of rainfall with it, but really it does look like the land area here is going to take its toll, but it still has a lot of moisture and unstable atmosphere across much of the Indochina Peninsula, so rain showers are going to be the main topic throughout the coming days. Well, at least with the center of circulation around Jebi, because we got another area now that we are continuing to watch, and that is our Invest 94W, which was just towards the west of Palau now. Jebi making landfall here towards northwest, but Mindanao, it does look like, unfortunately for you, this keeps on creeping farther and farther south. Now, that's the center of circulation. What we have been seeing on satellite imagery, though, is the bulk of the precipitation with this one is really extending off here towards the north. So it does look like around Visayas, southern Luzon, you could see some heavy showers. I'll show you the animated visible/infrared image, and you can see what I'm talking about here. Center of circulation right here just off the coast of Mindanao. You have that moisture pushing on shore. You still have a lot of it down here towards the south. A very broad area as far as the circulation here, but it does have some good outflow. Overall, that radial inflow is coming around it, but it's very disorganized, very popcornish on the satellite imagery. So it's going to become a tropical depression, especially if it hits Mindanao here. I don't think so. Once it moves over the Philippines, is it going to stay in a low pressure area? Yes. Is it going to bring some heavy rainfall? Very well likely. Remember, these are the same areas that got hit by BOFA back in December. So it's 6 months later, and there's still recovery efforts. Pagasa is still putting out special forecast on that area. When you go to their webpage, and you can see the low pressure area that is being warned on by Pagasa, the one just towards east of Mindanao. You scroll down, special weather forecast for Compostela Valley and Davao Oriental. So yeah, that area still is in the recovery. Now, this is the GFS model outlook, that same one you were just looking at, showing the precipitation totals over the next 24 72 hours. But really heaviest totals there in southern Luzon. Manila, don't be surprised if you see a passing shower, but I do think the bulk of it's going to remain down here towards the south, especially along the west coast of Mindanao and the east coast of Samar, where you get those showers coming on shore. And it's going to hit the mountains here, squeeze it out. There's a risk of some flooding, even landslides with this as it does push overhead. Also, the ground's very saturated. We just had Jebi come through the same area here and bring some heavy rain totals. In the long range, we're talking about next week, there's a potential of that also moving out here towards the South China Sea. Many of the models are picking up on something developing here and pushing out there towards Hainan, which we are still seeing Jebi impact, or the Hong Kong area. And actually, we'll just take a look at what the GFS is showing here. Pulling through the model outlook, you see it moving over Mindanao here, pulling off there towards north. And then it starts to take a little cruise there off towards the north, towards Hainan, southern China, winds right around at about 40-45 knots. That's very similar to what we were just seeing with our severe tropical storm Jebi. So we could have Jebi Part 2 really going through the mid part of the week. I want to pull back the picture, show you what else is going on out here, because the model last several runs has been all sorts of jumping all over the place. And I say that because it was actually rather consistent over the past week now with the development of a system here near Guam. And it does look like GFS in particular is starting to back off of that as we go ahead into the latter part of the week. You see right here we have a low pressure area, but yeah, nothing too much. It's a big broad area of low pressure. We're not going to be expecting anything too much out of that, at least at this time. But then it wants to send a typhoon at me here in Tokyo, so there's that. Going ahead till the Friday the 16th, we got a nice little storm developing off here near Iwoto and pushing off towards the north, riding along the eastern periphery of the West Pac Eye. That's long range. I don't see that happening at all. If anything, a storm would develop down here and stay down towards the south. But it is tropical season, and it is the peak of tropical season. And as I showed you on NHK World, if you were watching, the peak of tropical season is in August, typically 5 to 6 storms by then. Right now we are at 1 with Jebi, so we still got a few more to go, and we'll definitely stay with you here at westernpacificweather.com for the latest.